Hey, it's me, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and welcome back to another edition of Quick Topics, the show where I discuss different types of movie related topics from physical media collecting to movies themselves. Anyway, on this show, I've got 6 topics as always. Let's get to them. So, the first topic I want to look at is my favourite recent 90s movie watches, movies I've watched recently, and some of these are fresh watches for me. So I'm going to go through them. Earlier on this year, I watched Backdraft for the first time. As it's set in America. It's a bunch of firemen. And they're dealing with like crimes going on, and it's just such a that was a brilliant movie. That was a first time watch for me. The explosions in that are amazing. I thought the story was really good, like a really good, I suppose, like a thriller type movie. I thought it was a solid movie, that one, Backdraft. Ones I've watched really recently, though, one is Connor. Connor I watched only a couple of days ago, and it's one I've seen bits and pieces of over the years on TV, but never watched it from start to finish. Nicolas Cage starring in this movie, and I suppose like this is prime Nicolas Cage, the 90s, you've got the Rock, Connor, you Face Off, tons of great movies from Cage in that era. But yeah, Connor was a very enjoyable watch for me. I really enjoyed it. I think it's just certain movies from that 90s era, especially Nicolas Cage movies, really just hit for me every time. They are solid movies. Connor is one I really enjoy. He's this guy, he's an ex-army guy, he comes back, and he gets then sent to prison, you see earlier in the movie. And years later, he's coming out, but then he's on this plane, this special plane with all the other convicts, and then the plane goes rogue, and the criminals end up running the plane, and it's just like he's the only savior on this plane, and it is such a cool movie. I really enjoyed that one. Classic 90s film. Some of the ones I've watched and I've recently discussed on the podcast are True Lies. True Lies, again, another solid movie. Really enjoyed that one with Arnie. Big Arnie fan anyway, but True Lies is, again, one I'd watched years ago. Didn't really think much of it. Gave it a rewatch and absolutely had a blast with it. I thought it was a great movie. Another one was Broken Arrow as well. It was recommended to me by a few different people. Broken Arrow was another solid movie. For me, the 90s still holds that special place as the top era of movies. For me personally, I know everyone's got the favourite decade of movies. The 90s, I think, for me, is just my favourite. I love it. I love the 90s. I think it's just a solid era of movies. But yeah, they are some of the recent ones. I think the standout would have to be tied between Connor and True Lies. I think True Lies slightly edges out, but Connor is pretty damn good as well. Hayden Christenson is kind of returned to the Star Wars universe. Spoilers for the most recent Ahsoka episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers ahead. If you've not really watched the last 2 episodes, really. But yeah, he returned in The World Between Worlds with Ahsoka. And then we got glimpses. She kind of like had memories of the Clone Wars, and you've seen different incarnations of Hayden Christenson's Anakin Skywalker character, and Darth Vader obviously as well. And they de-aged him as well, which was really cool. They de-aged him so he looked like 20 years younger, and I think it looked really well. I think they did it really well, the de-aging. It didn't really... I think you could see... I think the only thing you can notice is his voice sounded a bit lower compared to the other movies, and it feels like they didn't do much to his voice, but I didn't think it was a big thing. I enjoyed it. I actually loved the stuff they did where it was like it must have been taken from the Clone Wars show, and that sort of incarnation of him with kind of like not the long hair, but like not the really short hair. It's like an in between, and he's got the grey. I think it's the look he has in the Clone Wars animated show, and they did like the young Ahsoka flashbacks there in this World Between Worlds. And I thought, I was thinking to myself, what is his future in Star Wars? Is it cameos like this, or do we see a live action Clone Wars? Some of them Clone Wars battles, what they had in the animated show, them episodes, live action versions of that. What would I like to see? Personally, I think it would be really cool if they did just like filled in a few more gaps and did some more you've got the opportunity there because the guy is obviously the de-aging works. They can definitely do it. The technology's there. They could do a live action show, and this is me as a fanboy. When I saw that they brought the the CGI Luke back, and I was really I popped for it. I loved it. I thought it was amazing, and I probably said the same then. Let's give us a Luke Skywalker show. But I suppose with having Anakin, Hayden Christensen is still. He looks pretty much similar to what he looked like 20 years ago with a bit of de-aging. It's not a massive fix. It's more of a doable thing to do like an Anakin Skywalker show. Now, maybe some people would say you kind of it's just overkill because you've done the Anakin Vader story. It's done. It's complete. Everyone knows the story. And I kind of get that. And I also understand that. And I can understand fans who would say we don't want to see any more Anakin Skywalker. But I personally would like to see more Hayden Christensen because even though we had the trilogy, it wasn't beloved. I think the Revenge of the Sith is definitely beloved by fans now. I think it's become more beloved with fans, but I think Attack of the Clones is not particularly a film that people adore in the Star Wars universe, the Star Wars canon. And I think if they maybe give us that in between of Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and again, you could say, well, we had it with the animated shows. Fair enough, but surely there's more stories you could tell. You could give us more battles. Maybe you could have some of them animated scenes brought over to live action and delve in and do a deeper dive into them stories in live action form. And surely there's other adventures, other missions he would have went on that you could tell in a live action form, which would be interesting to see. Now, maybe it's not a headline show of Anakin Skywalker. Maybe it's kind of like an Anakin and young Ahsoka live action show. I think I really would like to see that. Or you could do it like kind of like I forget what it's called now. The Tales of the Jedi. It was the animated show where they just did one-offs of Star Wars characters. And maybe that is the way to kind of do it. Do you know, like do a live action sort of show of different Star Wars characters, and then have kind of like little links between. But you could have like a Luke Skywalker episode, an Anakin Skywalker episode, maybe something like that. I would really love to see more of Anakin Skywalker and Hayden Christensen's incarnation of that character, because I think it's a really cool character, and I would like to see more of him. And hopefully, we do get to see more of him in the future in the Star Wars universe. Christmas movies versus Halloween. Halloween is upon us and Christmas isn't too far away either. I think when we get to this point of the year, it's September 2023 as of filming this, as of doing this pod episode. And yeah, it's, Halloween season is going to be kicking in October. And then Christmas soon after. Christmas trees are selling in shops already. You're hearing Christmas songs in some shops. Which ones, though? Favourite movies? Personally, I'm not a big fan of Christmas. I'm not a really Christmassy guy. I loved it as a kid, but I think I've turned into a grumpy old man now. But I think over the years, I didn't really like Halloween for years, but I think as the years have went by, the season I probably enjoy most is Halloween. Not that I dress up or anything like that, but I think, I know there's something about that, the skulls, when you see in the shops, and when you see houses like dressed up with skulls and people going around in the spooky outfits, I think it looks really cool. And more importantly, what we want to talk about here is movies. Which ones are better? For me, I prefer Halloween movies. Now, you know me, if you listen to the pod, I'm not a horror guy. What movies am I talking about that would fit into Halloween? Well, I'm talking about your likes of your Addams Family, your Goosebumps, your Ghostbusters. They're the sort of movies I would enjoy and would watch around Halloween time. And, Addams Family definitely is a perfect Halloween movie. Not to say I don't dislike Christmas movies, but I think, Halloween movies and then sort of like horror-infused movies, a bit of comedy in the family comedy really interests me, and maybe I'll dress up this year. I probably won't, but maybe the ghoulish mean cheer might come out again. You never know. But yeah, Halloween movies definitely for me. Is the PS5 now the ultimate media machine? It was announced recently in an update that they were adding Dolby Atmos to the PS5. Now, this is missing for quite some time. Now, the PS5 can play Blu-ray, 4K, DVD. Big fan of DVDs still being on there. I think that's really cool. As you know, big DVD fan. But I've not got into the Blu-ray or 4K thing as of yet, and it is something this year I am going to be doing. And I've been looking at different machines and different players, and there was like a really high-end 4K machine I was looking at for quite some time, and it was like a couple $100. But now the fact that they've added Dolby Atmos, this is a thing that put me off some of the like Blu-ray 4K players, because I thought I want a future plan. I want to get the best possible machine for playing movies. But now the PS5 seems like a really good option for myself, and I suppose for a lot of home movie fans who have the home movie room set up. The fact you can get that, and if you want to have that like Dolby Atmos setup, then you can do it now with the PS5, which is great. Now the PS5 is still quite expensive, but for me, it's the ultimate media machine because you get a really cool games console as well. Because I've been looking at it for like the more recent Spider-Man games. I got the new Spider-Man coming out soon. I really want to play some of them games and some of the games on the PS5 that I'm really interested in playing. And the fact now this can kind of like kill two birds with one stone. It can be a 4K player as well as a PS5 console playing video games. I think it is the ultimate media machine moving forward. And I think a lot of people who haven't got into the 4K Blu-ray sort of like market and home entertainment area as of yet, this will be a great option for people. I will put a link in below for Amazon.co.uk for the PS5 if you want to check out the PS5 console just to see what it offers as well in regards to different types of spec. But I think the most important if you're a movie fan is the Dolby Atmos in the. I think it just adds something if you're future-proofing like myself, or if you are you maybe have that set up ready to go. It's all there for you. So PS5, I think, is the ultimate media machine moving forward. The Batman 2 versus The Brave and the Bold. We know the Batman 2 is scheduled to come out. It's been rumoured that Mr. Freeze is going to be the villain for that. We don't know if the Joker is going to be included in there as well. I really enjoyed the Batman. I think it was good. I think I enjoyed it more after a few watches as well. But The Brave and the Bold will be the DCU, so like the DC Cinematic Universe Batman. And it'll be Batman, and I think it's Batman's son. Is it Thomas? Not Thomas Wayne. Some other Wayne. I can't think what his name is. Wayne. I don't know. But which one will be the one I'm looking forward to the most? If I'm being honest, I'm kind of getting deflated on cinematic universes as a whole. So for me, even though I know I will definitely watch The Brave and the Bold, and I will because I like Batman movies, but in all honesty, a lot of these cinematic universes now, a lot of the movies I kind of pass on recently. I will get around to watching a lot of them eventually, but I'm not like super pulled into these universes and the whole big arcing storylines that they have. So for me, the Batman 2 is what I like about it is you can just enjoy this individual universe with the Batman. I'm so happy that they've kept it separate, and I hope they do continue to do it like that. So the Batman for me with Robert Pattinson is the Batman I am most looking forward to seeing in the coming years. When we will get to see both of these movies, I don't know, because you got these writers and the actor strikes at the moment. Seriously, it could be like 4 or 5 years down the line until we get to see these movies at this rate. I think at least 3 years I think 3 years could be the time we get to see like the Batman 2 at least. Brave and the Bold, that could be a few years after that maybe, if it does still happen, if it's not another universe that gets cancelled. But yeah, Batman 2 is one I'm looking forward to seeing, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with a more like serious Mr. Freeze, live action Mr. Freeze. That'll be good to see. Which actor's back catalogue am I most looking forward to deep diving into? I was thinking about this question, I was writing down questions. I thought this would be a really good question to go into, but two actors, two very different actors. First of all is Bruce Lee. I've never watched a Bruce Lee movie before, and I really want to get into that sort of martial art genre of movies, and I feel like Bruce Lee's the guy to watch. So there's definitely a few of his movies I really want to watch, some of the classics. The other person is Will Smith. Now, I do like Will Smith. I know maybe in the media nowadays, it's kind of like some people like him, some people don't. Personally, I kind of not. I try and look away from all that sort of like circus and enjoy what the performer can do on screen. Big fan of Men in Black, I am, and I like a lot of his other movies. But I feel like there's a big portion of his movies that I've really not watched and not really. Maybe I've watched once or twice and not really thought much of, but I think he's a guy that, like I said, I like him in Men in Black. Men in Black movies I really do enjoy. And he's got such a big back catalogue of movies. And I think them, like some of the sci-fi movies, like I, Robot, I didn't really think much of at the time. That's another one I really want to revisit. And Bad Boys, never seen them movies. Independence Day is one I rewatched a few years back, or maybe like a year or so ago. Really enjoyed that. It's another one. So I do like him as a performer, but I've just missed out on a lot of his movies. So definitely Will Smith he's got a back catalogue of movies I am really looking forward to deep diving into and watching a bunch of those. So it'd be good to just go through the list on Wikipedia and just pick one at a time, just going through them all and finding out which ones I really do enjoy. So that's it for another edition of Quick Topics. If you enjoyed this episode of Quick Topics, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to this on a podcast app of your choice, please do subscribe to the podcast app and leave a 5-star review as well. It really helps the show out. But let me know your thoughts on all of today's Quick Topics. Which actors' movie back catalogue are you looking forward to deep diving into, or have you got an interest in deep diving into watching more of? What do you think? The PS5 with Dolby Atmos, is it the ultimate movie media video gaming machine out there now? Let me know your thoughts, and what is some of your favourite most recent 90s movies that you've watched that you've really enjoyed. Let me know all your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, and as always, I will see you next time.